Welcome everybody to Personal FX. If you love collectibles, well, this is the place to be.
Especially if you love learning about collectibles. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Art Deco bronze statues. It's hard to tell the real thing from reproductions, but we're going to help you do that a little bit later on.
I love either way, John.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes. And let's take a look right now at a saguaro cactus. The only place to find them is outside of Tucson, Arizona. I.O. Haynes kicks off our week in Tucson with a super collector whose house is filled with Southwestern collectibles. And I see a cactus or two or three, John.
Or 4 or 5. All that and more is coming up on today's Personal FX. Hey there, welcome to today's Personal FX, the Collectibles show. Meet two people who've come by to have their items appraised on today's show. This is Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Now, you're a collector, yes?
Yeah, I collect glass top hats and of all ranging sizes. And it got started when I was 6. My mom went to my great-grandmother's estate auction and bought a whole bunch for me, and it's just kind of grew from
now
there.
They kind of gravitate towards you, right?
Yes, and
Sure.
I gravitate towards them at auctions and flea markets and all
So
that
anybody
kind
out there who has a top hat that you don't want anything to do with, send it to the show and we'll get it in touch here with
Right.
Jennifer. This is Delaney. Hi, Delaney. How are you? Where are you from?
Springfield, Missouri.
And what are you doing in town?
I had a dance competition in New Jersey Meadowlands.
And how'd you do?
We got all first.
First, all the way around, ladies and gentlemen. And where were you this morning? You're at
Today Show.
The Today Show.
Yeah.
They treat you good over there?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but they didn't appraise any of your items now, did they? If you'd like to be a guest or FX apartment, have something appraised, here's the number to call, 1-800-FX-FX-FX1. Give that a call and we'll set it up. All right, let's go out to Tucson, Arizona, where I.O. Haynes is starting her week of visiting super collectors. Hi there, I.O.
Hi, John. How are you?
Good.
You know, Tucson, Arizona was founded in 1775, and the lifestyle here is a combination of both Western and Spanish influence. And we are with our super collector, David Mulliman, who loves both lifestyles. David, thank you for having us in your home.
Well, welcome. Glad you could come.
Thank you. Tell everyone how you started this super collection of Southwestern memorabilia when you didn't even grow up here.
No, I grew up near Seattle and Tacoma, where it's always rainy and overcast. And I joined the Air Force, and they sent me here to Tucson, Arizona, where it's sunny and bright, and we fell in love with the Southwest and the Western.
What was the first piece that started the collection?
This cookie jar here is a saguaro cookie jar, and it was given to us by one of our friends who knew that we liked Southwest items, and from there it just grew.
Grew to how many?
It grew to probably over 700 pieces.
700 pieces over about 15 years, so we're going to have a good time looking at the pieces here.
Well, if you're not crazy about rain, Tucson would be the place to be, wouldn't it, I.O.?
That is true.
That's right.
All right, we'll check in with the two of you later on. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's get right into those appraisals, if that's okay with you two. You guys ready? All right, let's do this. Claire, who are the appraisers today?
I think our appraisers are ready too. Pat Dudley, Jerry Harrelson, good to see you.
Hello.
Either of you collect Southwestern?
Mexican jewelry, but that's about it. Native American jewelry, yes.
What are your earrings, Jerry?
What do I have on today? Oh, arts and crafty.
Okay, very different arts and crafty, not Southwestern. Please meet our first guest of the day, Tim. Nice to have you here.
Good to
And
be
where are
here.
you from?
Binghamton, New York.
Oh, upstate New York. Now, you didn't drive here in a U-Haul rental trailer,
No,
did you?
no.
Do you collect things like this?
No, not really, but my wife collects a little bit of everything. So
And where'd she get this?
she got it at an auction.
Does she know what you paid for it, or?
She didn't tell me.
Well, in that case, we'll go ahead and appraise it, though, for you. And you've got the box as well.
Yes.
So what are we looking at?
We're looking at a Ford U-Haul truck and trailer from the 1960s, made by the Nyland company that made, I think, primarily toy trucks. And this one is really pretty substantial.
It really is. This is a service vehicle, and it has a little added value in that it's a U-Haul, which makes it an advertising piece. And it's made out of metal, and of course in excellent condition, and it's from the early 1960s.
Does it have enough age on it yet to know in terms of
Surprisingly,
value?
with toys, yes.
Actually, this is the second U-Haul, I think, that Nyland made. The first one came out, I think, in 1955. So actually, this is the second
So
generation.
this one came out at about how much back then?
I don't really know how much it sold for originally. I would imagine maybe around
$12.99, $15.
maybe
And today?
somewhere in there. Actually, in this condition, because it is with the exception of the one crack on the rear windshield, it has the original box, and the paint is actually pristine. So I would say probably in the neighborhood of maybe $150.
It's about $150.
Paid to hold on to something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know what your wife paid for it, but did she give you instructions about whether she would like to put it up for sale or not?
I think we will take bids.
Okay, the two of you will take bids. Thank you so much for being with us. And because they're taking bids, let me tell you our bid number for any or all items up for sale. It's 212-802-0082. And John is our next guest. Hi, John. How are you doing?
Hi.
Oh, you have brought in a piggy bank. Where'd you get it?
Well, got it at a flea market up in Watertown.
You did? Would you
Yes.
like to pass it
Oh,
along to our appraisers?
I'm
How many
sorry.
pennies did you pay for it?
I paid about $20 for
About
it.
$20? Okay.
Well, this is interesting because we were talking about this right before the show opened, and you said you thought it was probably a Roseville piece.
Yes.
And actually, there are some similarities to the Roseville piggy banks, which were made in the early 1900s. But, and actually the form is not all that different, but the glaze on the Roseville from that period is really pretty different. It's either splotchy like a spatterware glaze or somewhat of an overall glaze with a sort of the same type of buff glaze in the background.
Besides the glaze, is there any other way to differentiate between
Well,
Roseville and not?
there
This is a
is
very clean line. Roseville's line is not clean. It's almost like it was hand painted on. This is like a stenciling on. That's one of the other giveaways for it.
the Roseville ones, with the exception of the commemorative one, are not signed. Neither is this. My feeling is this is probably a reproduction of a Staffordshire piggy bank. Probably the original would have been made in the late 18th, early 19th century. And that's what my feeling that this is.
Jerry?
This one I think is about a 1950, 1960 job, and it's still worth about $35, $45 as a piggy bank.
Two piggy bank.
You did just fine. So what would you like to do? Put it up for sale or keep it?
We'll put it up for sale.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you. Hope you have a good time visiting today. And Wanda is our next guest. Hi, Wanda.
Hi.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
And what kind of book did you bring along?
Well, I think it's a salesman sample book. All the pages are misnumbered. It's got listings in the back for people that want to buy it. It's got the price of the book. And the back and front cover are different.
Okay. We were looking at this a bit before the show, and it appears that this is a book that may have been sold to teach people elocution back in the late 19th, early 20th century. And it may be a salesman's sample. There is a subscription list in the back, or a place for subscribers to write their names. A little bit different in terms of salesman samples. Most of the salesman samples are small scales of objects. So this is, I've never seen one like this before, I must admit.
This one's interesting. In addition to teaching you elocution, it's really about public speaking.
Yes.
What to do with your arms, what to do with your hands. And then it gives, what makes us think it's a salesman sample, as in the back it gives a listing for you to write in your name and the binding that you want the book to come in.
Now, would there be much
So-
interest with collectors for something like this? 'Cause it is
Very,
unusual?
very small group of people might be interested in it, yeah, but not a very vastly collected.
Give us a price range.
About under $20, I would think.
In the neighborhood of $20, I would think, yeah.
And speaking of speaking, I'm trying to figure out your accent. Where are you from?
Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, very good. Would you like to put this up for sale?
Yes, I'll see if anyone's interested.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us. And John, what do you think about, in the turn of the century, they had wonderful books on how to speak.
Yeah, gotta love it. Gotta love it. And Claire, I wanted to ask you, have you been following the thing with the Pathfinder on Mars?
Yes, with great interest.
Yes. Well, in May, actually, Hot Wheels came out with this right here, and this is the Pathfinder, and it sold for $5. Now, of course, you can't find it. Everybody wants one, but do not fear, because the people over at Hot Wheels just said that, and Mattel said that they're going to be coming out with a bunch more. So if you're looking for it, it will be out. It will be out soon. I did that whole thing without saying that this is a collectible that's out of this world. I did that whole
And I was so proud of you, John.
I am too. I'm very proud of that. All right, let's get a preview of the next item to be appraised on today's show out in Tucson. It belongs to Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. What do you have?
Hi. I'm going to have my Austrian bull appraised coming up next on Personal Effects.
Welcome back to Personal FX, where we appraise all kinds of items. So, we've already seen the piggy bank, the U-Haul trailer truck. John, what's going to be next?
I don't know, but I have a feeling it's out in Tucson, Arizona. It belongs to Cheryl. Let's go out there right now. Hi, Cheryl. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Great. Tell us more about what you brought there.
Well, this bowl belonged to my great-grandmother. It's a porcelain, hand-painted with some gold trim around the edge. It has some markings on back. Says it's from Austria, and the numbers are 4935.
What do you think?
Very interesting. Probably a porcelain bowl that was made around 1895 to the early teens of this century. It's difficult to tell whether it's hand-painted or transfer decorated from here. The gold definitely looks like it's hand-painted, and very typical of that type of pottery, or porcelain rather. Probably a berry bowl, I would imagine.
Yeah, very nice. Many of the companies made this in many of the different countries. This was very standard for the period, and a very nice example. And they sell for about $145 to $175 in good condition, which this one seems to be in.
Yeah.
What do the numbers 4935 on the back mean?
They're probably a mold or a style number, I would imagine.
I see. All right. Well, Cheryl, what do you think? Do you want to take some bids on this item, or do you want to keep it?
I'd like to take some bids, please.
We will let you know. Thank you for bringing that by. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, and that number to call in case you want to place a bid, 212-802-0082. And Sarah Ann has joined us. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Where are you from?
Binghamton, New York.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, what do you have here?
This is Jaspo Jim. He's a dancer on the roof. It's a wind-up toy from the 1920s, I believe.
Now, where did you get this?
Gosh, I've had him so long, I'm not sure.
Is that right? All right. Well, what do you two think of this?
Wonderful.
It is.
Absolutely wonderful.
Lithographed, as you say, key wind doll, or toy rather, by the United Art Manufacturing Company, and you're right, from the 20s, in the original box.
It's nice that she has the original box, and although it's in really rough condition, it still adds value to the toy. The toy itself is in pristine condition. The one thing we look for when we're looking at toys in tin is that there's no rust on them, and this one is absolutely clean. This falls under the category of Black Americana, and he's absolutely wonderful because he represents a dancer. And could you wind him up so we can see? I know Claire would want to see him dance.
He does.
He does work?
He's a little temperamental, but he does work.
It's not often you see boxes from the 20s either, is it?
You do see them around because apparently, oh, great.
There it is. Look at that.
Great.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
You're loving that, aren't you, Claire?
I appreciate it, Jerry.
The rule around here is if there's a wind-up toy, Claire has to see it.
Absolutely. See it in action.
Well, what do you two think?
It sells for anywhere from $475 to $600 and up.
I'm going to differ a little bit, simply because this is the United Art. The Lehman and the Marx examples that are very similar to these tend to sell in that price range, but I've seen at auction numerous times this one sell more in the $275 to $350 range, so I'm going to differ a little bit.
Well, do you want to take bids? Do you want to hold on to it?
I would entertain offers.
We'll do that for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting. All right, I'm going to call in Delaney next, and Delaney has a rabbit of some sort. Come on in, Delaney. Thanks for stopping by today, by the way. Now, tell us what you brought.
Okay, it's a Van Briggle rabbit that I got in the factory in Colorado about 7 years ago.
That's a good thing, Van Briggle, right?
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yep. And we can hold that over there. It has the Van Briggle mark, the double A, in a square, which is for Ann, artist and Ann Van Briggle, who are the founders of the pottery. This piece is very interesting in particular because the name of the glaze of this is a turquoise Ming blue. It's a matte glaze that artist Van Briggle developed. He had worked as a Rookwood potter before he founded this company, and they sent him to Europe to study glazes. He became fascinated with the Ming glazes and finally developed this, and this has been probably the most popular, the trademark glaze of the Van Briggle pottery. It was used primarily between 1912 and 1920, but in 1970 they reintroduced the glaze, and so there you have the modern interpretation of the period Van Briggle pieces with the turquoise Ming glaze.
Do you agree with all that?
I do. Particularly what's important is that it was reintroduced in the 1970s because people are confused and they think it's part of the old ones. And the old ones was known for their handwork. They were molded, but then a lot of the work was done by hand. The later work was done quickly and briefly, as most mass-produced things are. But the rabbits are absolutely loved by everybody.
Value?
Somewhere around $35. Actually, the period ones sell in the range of 50 to 60.
Okay, so
So
this
there's
is
not-
about 35.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Agree?
agree.
All right. Well, do you want to take some bids?
Sure.
We'll let you know. Thank you very much for bringing that by. I appreciate that. All right, let's go out to Tucson, Arizona. And I know when it comes to the Southwestern Collectibles, he's got them all over, right? Are you in the kitchen now?
All over in the kitchen. I'm down in chili, in the chili part of his house. And you guys have heard of chili dogs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, here in Tucson, Arizona, they have chili cows. The cows here have lost their brown and black spots and instead have taken on red hot chili pepper spots. This
interesting.
is a collection made by Fitz and Floyd. It comes complete with a cow cookie jar, a cow pitcher, a cow teapot, a cow creamer with, guess what? Chili pasta. When we come back, we're looking at hot Southwestern collectibles here in Tucson, Arizona on Personal FX.
Glaze is a mixture of wood, ash, ground glass, sand, and water that is often used on southern stoneware, and it has a brownish yellow appearance, and that is brought to you by Centrum.
Oh, ash glaze. When we think of Southwestern, you think of ash glaze, without knowing the term. Welcome back to Personal FX. We have a bunch of items to tell you about that are up for sale. Let's start out with the truck and U-Haul trailer toy. It's a kind of a fun item with the packaging. It's worth about $150. It dates back to the 1960s. And then we have the piggy bank that comes with an appraised value of about $35 to $45. Also about the 50s to 60s, probably a reproduction made of glazed pottery. And the book, The Peerless Speaker, dates back probably to the end of the last century, the beginning of this century, in the $20 range, and it may have been a salesman's sample book.
And out in Tucson, Arizona, we have the Austrian Bowl, and this was appraised at $145 to $175. And that is made of porcelain and probably hand-painted. We also have the Jazzbo Jim wind-up toy here, and this was appraised anywhere from $275 to $600. It's from the 1920s. It's got the original box, and that whole thing is in just great condition. Last but not least, we have the Van Briggle Rabbit, and this was appraised at $35. It's got the trademark Van Briggle glaze, and it was reintroduced in the 1970s. This is the one from the 70s, so $35.
So if you'd like any of these items, here's what you do. You call us at 212-802-0082. Now, I know you've been to the Southwest. You've seen all these collectibles. I haven't been yet, John.
Oh, gosh, let's go right now, because I love it out there. Out to Tucson, Arizona. I'll take it away.
Claire, you have to come and see the sights here. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
but we are with David Mulliman, who has recently moved back into the area. Now, has it been easy to continue the collection outside of the Southwest?
As I said earlier, I'm in the Air Force, and they've sent me all over the world. And we've collected all over the world. And we did a lot of collecting. In fact, this piece we found in Alabama. It's a Davy Crockett cookie jar. And it's Brush McCoy, which makes a lot of cookie jars.
Right.
And we think it's from about the 20s.
That is fantastic. Now, we have to say that you've only lived here about a month.
Only been in the house about a month.
So you are kind of thankful for us to come and help you get that sense to unpack.
We hid all the other boxes in the other half of the room.
Great. Well, it looks fantastic. Let's look over to your lamps here. You have two lamps that you really cherish but don't know much about.
These are two of our favorite pieces. We found them in a little antique store in southern Colorado, just south of Pueblo. And they have a glass shade, and they're molded glasses pieces. And I don't know anything about them, and I was hoping that maybe the appraisers might know something about them.
Now, you think one of the cords is older than the other?
Yeah, this cord seems to be original, and thinking that maybe that would help date it. The only marking on it is on the lamp part, which says Leviton. I don't know whether that means anything or not.
Well, let's turn it over to our appraisers, Pat and Jerry. Do you have any ideas what this is or what these are?
Could we just see the bottom of one of the lamps, please? I'm just curious as to how they are. They're molded. Okay, is that, it appears that there's a paint that's perhaps airbrushed on the interior? Is that what that is?
That's what it looks like.
Okay. Okay. I would say they're probably from the 1940s, perhaps late 30s, but my feeling is perhaps earlier 40s. As you say, molded glass. I'm not familiar with what particular company might have made them, but they're a quintessential design from, you know, the Southwestern area and very, very desirable in the marketplace.
Can you put a value on it?
I would be in the range, I think, probably in the 200 to 250 range. For the pair. No, for the pair.
For the pair. Great.
Well, we like them, whether they're worth anything or not. They're kind of special to our collection.
They are. Now, is it easier and cheaper to find pieces here in the Southwest?
Well, like I said, we've traveled all over and we collect wherever we collect. This particular teapot we saw in Baltimore, and it was $70, and that's a little more than we like to pay for these things, so we left it. We came back here to Arizona and found it for $35.
That would be a good deal.
So 50% savings by getting back here where they're more common.
Do you use this teapot or any of the teapots?
If I use these, my wife would kill me.
We know how that can be.
Yeah.
But you have plates here on this table numbering about maybe 600, and you're going to tell me that you don't use any of these?
No, we don't. First of all, they'd all have to be hand washed if we got them dirty, and because they don't go in the dishwasher.
Okay, good point.
But no, these are the heart of our collection, the Western plates. These plates here are made in California potteries. These here are Japanese that have been imported, and then those on this end of the table are primarily the Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania pottery company.
Now you have a special bowl here. Tell me about this.
This bowl was made by the Homer Laughlin Company. The Homer Laughlin Company is the company that makes Fiesta ware. And they started the Fiesta in about 35, 36, and then in about 1937, 38, they started coming out with these Western motifs on them.
Now, is this an advertising piece? Because on the back...
This is an advertising piece, and it was a common giveaway in those years for the furniture stores or drug stores to give away those types of items.
That is great. Well, we're walking over to your largest piece in the collection, this lamp here. This is great. What's the story behind this?
This is a saguaro cactus lamp. We found it when we were living in Maryland, and I think both the store owner and us were happy when we left the store with it.
That is great.
But we were happy to get it. He was happy to get rid of it.
You also have artwork from DeGrazia, who was a famous Tucson painter here.
Ted DeGrazia was a very famous painter, and these 5 pictures we got from a person here in town. They are part of a 6-piece set, and we didn't get the 6th piece. These pictures, when he started out in the 40s and the 50s, he was too poor to do color prints, so they just did the black, and then he'd go through and paint the yellow, and his wife would go through and paint the blue, and his neighbor would go through and paint the white.
Are they very valuable now?
I assume they're worth a couple $100 a piece.
That is great. But you don't know what this 6th piece looks like.
Nope.
But anybody out there, if you have any ideas and know where David can get his hands on one, call us at the show and we'll put you in touch with David.
Great.
Thank you very much for having us in your home.
I'm glad you could come.
You're welcome.
David, you got over 600 plates. I don't dare ask if that's a complete set.
You know, I think there's more out there.
All collected one at a time, too.
All collected one at a time.
Amazing. Thank you both very much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad we gave them incentive to unpack the collection for the show today.
However we can help, you know?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Well, stay with us, folks. When Personal FX returns, we have more appraisals coming your way, and we're going to be talking about Art Deco bronze statues. Can you tell the difference between a reproduction and the real thing? We'll help you with that when we return.
Right?
Hi.
You brought an interesting clock. Where'd you get it?
I picked this up in England, in the English countryside, while I was on vacation with my wife and daughter.
Oh, how nice. Good
visiting her
purchase.
relatives.
Did they tell you anything about it when you bought it?
Well, not really. It was just, I liked the piece. I bought a few others there also.
Okay. Let's see what our appraisers can tell you about it.
Well, the clock is an oak veneer clock, and it was probably made, I would think, between 1920 and the early 30s. It has a brass-plated bezel, and it is a time and strike, and probably a long, no, time and strike. And you said it had the Westminster chimes.
Yes.
Okay, which is, of course, the same chimes as Big Ben has. And clocks are very often collected of this period because they do have the Westminster chime, and they're very lovely to listen to.
Chances are this was a clock they made lots of?
Yes, very, very, one of the most mass-produced clocks, probably in either the United States, and there are similar examples here, or in Britain. So they're fairly common. But this one is in very good condition. You said you just had it cleaned.
It was cleaned and adjusted in England.
In England?
At the shop I bought it at.
Okay. And it's in very good condition. A lot of these are not. And they generally wholesale from anywhere from $50 and then retail up to $150. So I put a pretty wide price range.
Jerry?
With the Westminster chimes, I go as high as $200 for this one.
How did you do?
Great.
You did very well. Would you like to put it up for sale?
Sure, definitely.
We'll be happy to do that.
Fine.
And let the audience know that our number to call is 212-802-0082. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
And Jennifer is our next guest, and I don't know what kind of treasure you have with you, but please tell us about it.
Well, I have some postcards that I bought at an auction, and they belong to a reverend, and he collected them all, I guess, in 1 year. They're all dated 1908. And a lot of them are birthday wishes.
Do you collect postcards?
Well, I like them. I like everything.
You collect everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Common problem.
So, and then some of them are picture postcards. I marked that one because it was just, it looked like a tornado hit there or something. And this one is so funny. It says, leap year 1908, and will you marry me?
And this was sent to the Reverend, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And these are some Thanksgiving Tux cards. And
When you say Tuck, you mean Raphael Tuck, who is the printer, the German printer and designer.
Basically, I just know that from a friend of mine who's an antique dealer.
Okay.
But I really didn't know anything about the cards, postcards at all, except
Well, you
the
really
fact
came
that I
to the
like
right
them.
place to find out more about them, too.
Yeah.
Postcards were really developed in Germany in the 1860s. And the Columbian Exposition here in the late 1800s is really credited with their wide popularity in the United States. And they were considered a very economical way to communicate with anyone. And they're collected by subject matter, by theme, by holidays, any kind of occasion you can think of. And she has like a broad collection of them. And they run anywhere from $3 to $7 to $8.
Now, the more valuable ones, are they the ones with the better artwork on them?
Not better insofar as your eye would consider, but insofar as the designer or the illustrator is concerned, or sometimes, as we were just talking about, the publisher causes the card to be worth more. Yeah. But they,
an artist signed or a well-known publisher such as Raphael Tuck, they command more money.
we're talking about $200 here off the top of our heads, because most of those are birthday cards that she has inside.
I think the only ones that really would have a fairly strong premium would be the Thanksgiving cards by Raphael Tuck and the one that you mentioned of the Will You Marry Me, just because it's so comical.
So Pat, you added up also about $200?
I would, yes, I would think just a little bit more of a premium for the Tucks, which are 5, and there's 6 with the other one.
Yeah, there's 5 Tux ones. And
so if we put another $25 premium on it for those cards, I think then we're in the neighborhood of 2 to 2 1/4.
In that neighborhood, were you interested in putting it up for sale?
Yeah, I'd take some offers.
Okay, we'll do that for you. Thank you so much for visiting with us today.
Thank you.
And let's go back out to Tucson, where Linda would like an appraisal. Hi, Linda. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
That looks like a very interesting item before you. Tell us about it.
It's a toy boat driven by steam. My father bought it in 1931 and in Patterson, New Jersey. And it's made by the H.E. Bouchard Manufacturing Company of New York.
Great item. Were you ever allowed to play with it as a kid?
No.
That's a shame, because usually that's what model boats are all about. You get a chance, as my friend Joey, who used to love to build boats, told me, you get a chance to pick the model, then put it together yourself, and then put a motor in it and take it out for a little cruising.
And have fun memories as an adult of that.
This is so clean. Look how clean the motor is.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Most of these steam-powered toys were made anywhere from the very late 19th century into the teens, and they were highly collected in a very, very narrow field. But in terms of a toy, they were fairly dangerous for a child to play with.
Right.
And the value is placed on it primarily as to how intricate the steam engine actually is. This, you have 2 things going for it, as Jerry indicated. You have a very nice boat model with a mahogany, I can't tell if the whole thing's mahogany hull, but quite a bit of mahogany. And then you have a brass steam engine, which is a horizontal steam engine. It seems to be fairly sophisticated.
Let me pin you down on the price.
I'm going to place a value of around $750 to $800 on this particular one.
In the condition that it's
Yes.
in.
Yeah, the fact that it's a wood hull and everything really does it.
In that $750 to $800 price range, would you like to put it up for sale?
I'll entertain bids.
Okay, great boat. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today.
You're welcome.
And now it is time to see, I love anything Art Deco, but we're going to see some Art Deco bronzes. John?
Well, Claire, Art Deco bronze statues in the last 10 years have really gone up in value, but not everything is worth its asking price. There are a lot of reproductions out there. So to help us identify an Art Deco bronze statue from a reproduction is George Holmes from Renee Antiques. George, glad you're here today. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Glad to meeting you.
Now, the basic question, what is an Art Deco bronze statue? What is that?
This is bronzes have been made in the 1920s, mostly of women, and has a very definite style about them. Very identifiable as the 1920s, 1930s.
What can be the difference in value between a reproduction and the real thing?
Oh, we're talking about a reproduction could be maybe about $200, $300, and original could be about between $20,000 and $60,000.
Oh, so it's good to know. You're talking tens of thousands of dollars difference.
Great to know.
Let's talk about some of the tips that'll help identify. Now, this is a real one here, is that right?
That is a real one by Philippe. It's a French artist, 1920s, 1926 or so.
One of the things that there's some wear here. Is that right?
Yes. The one thing that you could tell about an original is that the wear is completely uneven. The patina have been worn off because of touch. People picks it up by the hand and move it again and clean it up and so forth. So the wear there is a tattletale about how old it is.
Also detail will tell you.
The details, of course. The original usually had both. The work was much better. All the chasing and all the finish on the bronze have been done by artists that were very careful, and they've done very good work.
You know what I'm going to do, George? I'm going to move this over so we can actually see the difference in the detail of the hands. Now, this is a reproduction here, is that right?
That is right. That is a reproduction of a sheep house bronze. This probably was made maybe about a few months ago.
And if we look at the hands, we'll see that they're kind of, stiff and rugged there.
Okay. The ivory hands on this is very clearly new. You could see, even though they are very well made, you can see the ridges of the knuckles, very stiff, and the finish is still not yet smooth. If you see the handle on the Philippe, it's very smooth, beautifully done, and not only time-wise, but it also beautifully done from the artist's point of view.
It really has kind of a flowing quality. Also, when it comes to signatures, that's a telltale sign as well, is that right?
It could tell quite a bit, although you should not guarantee something by the signature, but it can tell. In this particular case, it's a reproduction of Bruno Zach piece. That's his original of Bruno Zach. The signature right here on the back is a disgrace in a way, because an artist will not dare to do something like this. It's mutilating his own piece.
So they rarely, if ever, put it on the actual item itself. It's usually
such a way.
In such a way.
Yes.
This is the real thing here.
This is the real thing. It will have a signature right here. It will be clean signature, inconspicuous. If it does have it on the body, it will be still very clean, but it will not be a mutilation.
One last tip. If I want to buy an Art Deco bronze statue, what's one last good thing to remember?
Oh, well, I think the most important thing is that you ought to buy it from a reputable dealer that will give you guarantees. They will tell you that he's standing behind it, that he will tell you he will take it back. They will tell you that he would want it to buy it back from you over the years.
Just can't say that enough. That's the truth. George, thank you so much for stopping by. I really learned a lot.
My pleasure.
Appreciate that. All right, there's many ways to get in touch with us here at Personal FX, and I'm going to tell you how to do just that. You can always call us if you're interested. It's that 1-800-FX-FX-FX1 number. Or if you like, you can always fax us. That's a real good way to get in touch with us, by the way. 212-802-4201. And last but not least, you can always write us. Personal FX, The Collectibles Show, P.O. Box 825, Madison Square Station, New York, New York, 10159-0825. All right, let's get a preview of the very next item to be appraised on today's show. Belongs to Jeff out in Tucson, Arizona. Hello, Jeff. What do you have there?
Hi, I'm going to have my wicker stroller appraised coming up next on Personal FX.
Welcome back to Personal FX. I love those Art Deco bronzes, and I really learned something about look for the hands.
It's a lot of fun once you know what you're looking for, isn't it?
Like being a little detective.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're looking to bid on any of the following items, these are the items that are currently getting bids. So let's start out with the toy truck and the U-Haul trailer in about the $150 price range, dating back from the 1960s, and does have the original box. We also have the piggy bank with an appraised value of $35 to $45, dating back to 50s and 60s, probably a reproduction made of glazed pottery. And the book, The Peerless Speaker, has an appraised value of about $20, and it may be a salesman's sample book dating from the late 19th century.
And out in Tucson, Arizona, we have the bowl. It's an Austrian bowl from 1895 to the 19-teens, made of porcelain and probably hand-painted, appraised at $145 to $175. We've got the Jazzbo Jim wind-up toy, and this was appraised at $275 up to $600 from the 1920s, and as you can see, it has the original box.
Great toy.
Great toy. Van Briggle Rabbit, we've got that one as well, and that was appraised at $35. And this is from the 1970s, and it does have the trademark Van Briggle glaze and signature on the bottom.
And the English mantle clock from the 20s and 30s, mass-produced, they made a lot of them, worth about $50 to $200, has an oak veneer, and is in good condition. It's not too late to bid on any or all of these items. Our number to call, 212-802-0082.
Out to Tucson, Arizona we go, where Jeff has joined us for an appraisal. Hi, Jeff. How you doing today?
Great, John. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. Tell us more about what you got.
Well, I inherited this from my parents, and they acquired it in the early 50s. We think we've traced it back to at least the 40s. It's a wicker stroller. It's got Whitney on the hubcaps, and it's got a steering mechanism in the front, as well as a brake lever.
Look at that. What do you two think of that?
Does that appear, it appears that the green is the original paint, Jeff, is that correct?
As far as I can tell, it is, yes.
Okay. Okay. Can we have a shot of the handle, please? Okay. I would say that it's a wicker stroller, probably from the 30s, I would imagine, because you still have wooden spokes and rubber tires in the 30s, or you do have them in the 30s. I wish the condition of the paint were a little bit better. That's the only thing that really detracts from the value of this particular piece. But we don't find as many strollers as we do carriages, so that's a plus.
Jeff, this thing has a seat belt. Is that what that is in there that I'm seeing?
Yes, it looks like it is.
Rolly leather seat belt. We got brakes on this thing? How fast are they going?
Oh, yeah.
Jerry, what do you think of this?
This is a pretty neat piece. As Pat said, the most important thing is that we don't find a lot of strollers. If it was a carriage, we'd have to come way down on the price because they're more plentiful. But the strollers are harder to come by. About $150 to $175 in this condition.
Yes, I would agree with Jerry.
All right. Jeff, do you want to take bids on that? Do you want to hold on to it?
Yes, I'd love to entertain offers.
We will let you know, sir. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
What great blue sky back in the backdrop. It's like somebody painted it on.
You got to go to Tucson.
I got to get there. Let's turn to our mailbag. We have a letter that was written by Denise, who writes to us from Piscataway, New Jersey. And Denise writes, I have a music hat pin box that belonged to my grandmother. It is round and measures 5 inches high by 3 1/4 inches across. I believe it's made of tin, has a wood bottom with 3 ball legs. On the lid is a picture of a lady. There are no other markings. Love to have more information.
Well, I think this is more of a hair pen box than a hat pen box or trinket box. It's quite nice, made out of tin, dates it from maybe 1930s, 1940s with that gal's picture on it. We'd like to know what it plays. Maybe it plays Let Me Call You Sweetheart or something sweet like that.
Could also be a powder box, but generally it is a trinket box. I would agree with Jerry in that.
Trinket box and about that price?
I would say probably around $35.
Yes.
Very nice. Denise, thank you so much for your letter.
Okay, we also got a letter in from Donna in Baldwin Park, California, and Donna says, I'm writing to see if you can tell me the value of this dinner bell. Now, I've had it for 40 years, and my parents had it before me. I believe it to be bronze and possibly from Germany. It is shaped like a woman wearing a dress and bonnet. I'd like an appraisal and some information.
Actually, this is this is a figure of Jenny Lind, and this bell has been made out of bronze, brass, any type of metal, and also molded glass for a very long time, and been reproduced over a long period of time. It's kind of hard from here to tell exactly when it might have been made because we can't see the casting. But
Jenny Lind?
Jenny Lind was a Victorian figure that is very, very well known. I think she was a singer, actually. And I would place the value somewhere in the $25 range.
Yeah, 25 to 75, again, depending on what age it is.
So is it common to see a lot of figures of her from that time?
Yes, that's basically what we were saying while you're saying it was made in many different types of materials. Yeah.
She was a songbird.
She was a songbird?
Yes. Yes, she was.
Oh, all right. Well, we've identified who it is. And again, 25 to 35?
I'm going to 75 because the older, the bronze ones were up about $75. But it's hard to tell without being able to see the patina what age it is.
I see. Okay. Well, there you go, Donna. Hopefully you helped out a little bit.
And our next letter writer is Nola, who's on the line from Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Hi, Nola. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Claire. Hi, John.
Good to have you with us today. You wrote us about your doll, so please tell the audience.
Well, he's an Emmett Kelly's Willie the Clown doll. On his little tag it says exclusive licensed baby bear toy, New NYC.
And where did you get him?
He was my mother. She had a collection of dolls.
Well, what do you say in terms of the appraisal?
We wondered if there's an original box or package. You just simply mentioned something.
No, he just sat around as long as I can remember.
Okay, okay. This was made in the late 40s, and I think it's probably a vinyl painted face and vinyl hands and a cloth stuffed body.
It's rubber.
It's rubber. Okay, well, could be rubber, maybe vinyl. We can't tell from here. We're not here.
He's spongy.
Yeah, he's probably vinyl. The rubber things sort of deteriorate. You kind of know them.
They made a lot at that time?
Yes.
And
yes.
have a lot survive?
Well, yeah, quite a few of them survived. It was the kind of thing that you sort of displayed with your clown collectibles. It wasn't like a doll that you played with and held and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of them did survive.
Yeah, and Emmett Kelly was probably the most popular clown that has ever been, I would say.
Yeah.
So it was a very popular doll.
And they book anywhere from 85 to 200, depending on with a box, without a box condition, and with the condition without a box on this one, I'm going to say about $150.
I agree with you.
Okay. In that particular price range, were you thinking of taking some offers on it?
Sure, I'll take offers.
Okay, we'd be happy to. Thank you so much for writing to us and for being on the line today.
Thank you.
Well, what's next?
Big bids.
That's next. Stay with us.
Thought you were going to trip me.
Welcome back to Personal FX, the collectible show. Before we get started with the big bids, let's thank from Renee Antiques, George Holmes, for stopping by. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
Come on back anytime.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let's get started with those big bids. Claire?
Well, John, let's go back out to Tucson, Arizona, because we want to let Cheryl know for your Austrian bowl, we have an offer from Bob from Greenville, South Carolina for $175.
Well, thank you. I'd like to think about that.
Please do. And now, Tim, for your toy truck and trailer, Kathy from Blaine, Washington is offering $256.
Sold.
John, for your piggy bank, Ellis from Dugway, Utah is offering $75.50.
Sold. All right.
And let's see, Wanda, for your book, Irene from El Cajon, California, would like it for $22.75.
Sold.
Well, it is. All right, let's go out to Tucson, Arizona, where Linda brought the toy steamboat engine there. Linda Rowland from St. Louis, Missouri wants it for $1,025.
Well, I'll think about that.
All right, okay. Sarah Ann with the wind-up toy. Mike from Buffalo, New York called in with an offer of $775.
Ooh, I think I'd like to consider that.
All right, you can consider it. Delaney with the Van Briggle Rabbit. Nancy from Pocatello, Idaho called in with an offer of $70.
Sold.
So it is. And Ray with the mantle clock. Stephen from Lexington, Kentucky called in with an offer of $85.
I'll think about it.
You think about it. Yeah, all right. Let's go say goodbye to Io Haynes and find out what's up for tomorrow. Io?
Tomorrow we're going to be with a Tucsonian who has built a special 900 square foot building just to house his Lionel Train collection.
Great.
I want to thank David Mulliman for showing us his super collection of...
Besides cookies,
surprise.
This
Yeah.
also holds T-shirts.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
Welcome to Tucson.
Thank you.
Hot, hot, hot.
Thank you.
I will see you tomorrow.
All righty.
And Pat Dudley, Jerry Harrell says thank you so much for being our ace appraisers of the day. To all of you in the apartment, to all of you at home, make the most of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
So long.